We are going to cover about what are middlewares. In previous video we have covered about what is HTTP server and how to create a express HTTP server. If you have not seen that video, then you can find it on my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to cover about what are middlewares and how to create your own middleware and why we use middlewares. So let's get started. Here is the code that we covered in the previous lecture. So here I am going to create, I can give a simple example. What are middlewares? Like middleware is something that has to be that function that has to be called every time. For example, you are making a login in Facebook. You can take an example of a to-do list, like you are storing your data, like what task you have to done or something. So you are login for that. And every time whenever you like for example in Facebook case, like you have to change your DP, then whenever you change your DP it will also authenticate whether it's you that who is changing or someone else by authenticating your username and password. And that function which is authenticating that has to be run every time, and that function we can declare as middleware. We can call as middleware or we can declare as middleware. Middleware always called before this function, like request. This function is declared. Middleware always called before that, like here. And if there are multiple middlewares, then I can choose which middleware has to be called first and which has to be called after. Like middleware 1, then middleware 2, then next. So it will simple work like that. So here I'm going to by giving a simple example, like every time every time anybody make a get request on my website, every time anybody like reach to my website, it will count it, like how many visitors are visiting. So like a simple count function I'm going to make. It's a not big thing, but use cases, every time somebody make a get request on my site or visited my site, it will add up. A single person is visiting multiple times, then also it will add up. So it's a total count. So a simple example, like count, I can declare a variable like const count, and here instead of making a const count, I can make a let count also. Let const is const, the variable that does not change, and let means it can change the value. So let count is 0, and I'm going to declare a function here like a count function. And the for middleware, the amazing thing is that it will include parameters. First is rec, second is res, and third is next, right? So this is how it will called up as a middleware. So we know about what is rec res. In previous video I have discussed about that. So rec is request, res is resolved. But what is next? Next is like middleware always called before this function. So whenever middleware get completed, then I have to end it up with next function, so that it will call this function automatically. So next is nothing but we are calling this function at the end of that function ending. It's like in normal case I will say it is like a return. Every time you have to return a function or something like that. So every time you have to do a next, because only then it will call this function. So next is just to call this function, we are declaring that. So now here I am doing count plus plus. So simple, it will add up. And after that I will call the next function, so that it will call this function. But when this function will call, if I say like count, so now this function will call up whenever somebody make a get request. So let's check. whether it's work or not. So to run this, I have to first get into backend folder, cd backend, and then I have to run this. So node index.js, which is the file name, I'm calling this. So here it is giving me an error. Identifier count has already been declared. Okay, so I have I have declared the same for function visitors. I will say visitors, and I will say visitors function. So now I will run it. So now it is running. So I have to check it whether it is running rightly or not. So localhost, which port I am running in? I am running in like this, port 3000. So like port 3000 / route. So result is coming, which is I am printing, which you have also understood in previous video. And now I have to see whether it is running fine or not. So can add here console log count. Right. So if it is running, it will give me 1. Control Shift I. Okay. So why it is not giving me? Because I have to rerun this. So you don't have to rerun every time this. You can install Nodmon also. Nodmon spelling is like this. Nodmon. You can install this, but I like to rerun every time. So no problem in that also. Refresh it. It is giving me 1, then 2. Every time I will refresh. It will give me 13. So like that, it is counting it. So means this is running accurately. Here I make a GET request, but I have to change a DP. I'm making like put request or somebody I have to make a function where I have to run that function in get, post, put, delete. A same function every time I have to write here visitors. So it is like it is not a good code practice. So a good code practice is to use here app.use. Just understand the syntax first. In further videos, I'm going to everything will get automatically clear regarding what is the syntax. You have to just grab the syntax first. So app.use, if I write a function name inside this, it will automatically run every time in every request. Okay, so let's check whether it will run or not. If it runs in get, it will run in this, it will run in everything. So Control C to end the and rerun node index. Now it is running. I don't know it will run or not. So comment down below whether it will run this or not. So now it is running because app.use is used for that. Here app.use, we are going to learn more about that in further videos. For now, you can simply think app.use means you are running this function in every request, whether it is get, post, put, delete. Every time this function will run, every time it will check whether the username and password is correct, and then only it will change the data for that particular profile. Simple as that. Okay. So this is much for this video. Here you will learn about what is middleware, and in simple way, as much simple as I can explain. People are making it very much huge topic, but it is very simple concept. And in further videos, we are going to cover about how to authenticate, what is JWT, what is Zord, and how to make your own to-do app using React, Express, a MERN full stack project. So stay tuned with me. Bye bye.